The Indiana Fever took down the Portland Fire tonight 90-73, but Caitlin Clark was a late scratch in this one. She was listed as out with a back injury.
2 hours before tip-off, everything changed. Caitlin Clark wasn't just questionable. She wasn't limited. She was out. After missing the Portland game with what was described as a back issue, Clark was suddenly ruled out again at the last minute. No warning signs, no build-up. And just like that, the entire Indiana fan base was holding its breath. Was this really a lingering injury, or was something else going on? The league had already started scrutinizing situations like this, with load management conversations floating around online. Fans were confused, critics were loud, and Clark, she stayed quiet. But what happened next made it very clear she had heard all of it. Because when she returned against the Golden State Valkyries, she didn't ease back in. She detonated, and the timing couldn't have been more dramatic. Golden State wasn't walking into Gainbridge Fieldhouse as some soft opponent. They had just dismantled the New York Liberty 87-70 the night before, holding one of the league's most explosive teams 20 points below their average. That's not luck. That's dominance. Tiffany Hayes was playing some of the best basketball of her career. Veronica Burton was aggressive and fearless. Kayla Thornton brought physicality that had already made Indiana uncomfortable in previous matchups. This Valkyries team wasn't here to participate. They were here to make a statement. And for a while, they absolutely did. But not before Clark reminded everyone why she's impossible to ignore. The first minute belonged entirely to Clark, Indiana's opening possession. Clark finds Kelsey Mitchell for a finger roll layup. Next trip down, she floats one in herself. 4-0 before the building had even settled into their seats. No hesitation, no testing the back, just immediate pressure. Then came the shot that told everyone exactly what kind of night this was going to be. 29 feet, step back, splash. Timeout, Golden State. That wasn't easing back in. That was a warning. Still, the Valkyries didn't flinch. Burton answered with a three. Thornton fired back from deep. Stokes finished inside. And just like that, it was tied again. This wasn't going to be a runaway. After one quarter, Indiana clung to a slim 19-18 lead. Clark had 5 points and 4 assists. Boston and Mitchell added 6 apiece. Tight, physical, tense. And then the second quarter arrived like a storm nobody saw coming. The Valkyries exploded on an 11-2 run that flipped the entire game. Hayes couldn't miss. Chen was slicing through defensive gaps. Burton was chirping after nearly every play. Indiana's offense stalled. The energy shifted. The crowd grew restless. By halftime, it was 44-37 Valkyries, and just before the buzzer, things boiled over. Clark and Clark-Salon got into it. Words exchanged. Tempers flared. Double technicals handed out. The building erupted. That wasn't just competitive tension. That was personal. Clark walked into the locker room fired up. And what came out in the third quarter was something else entirely. Indiana opened the second half with urgency. Clark drilled a three to cut the deficit. Boston followed with a turnaround hook. Clark attacked the rim and earned free throws. The gap shrank possession by possession. Then came the moment that snapped everything into place. 33 feet. Well beyond the arc, tie game, the arena lost its mind. Clark didn't just hit the shot, she made sure Hayes knew about it. Post-game reports mentioned an audible exchange. Competitive fire fully visible. She wasn't hiding from it, she was embracing it, and she kept stacking plays, a driving layup, and in 3 consecutive scoring possessions that swung the momentum completely. Golden State had controlled the second quarter, but now, the Fever had control of the building. Boston quietly dominated inside during the chaos. Rebounds, putbacks, defensive stops. She anchored the comeback while Clark lit the match. By the end of the third, Indiana had flipped a 7-point halftime deficit into a 65-61 lead. But Clark wasn't done making headlines. Early in the fourth, she launched one from 35 feet, not just deep, absurdly deep. It barely moved the net. The lead stretched to double digits. Then, with just over 2 minutes left and tension still thick, Clark delivered a hard screen that officials ruled a flagrant one, described as a hip check on Burton. The call cut the lead to 4 after free throws. Suddenly, the Valkyries had life again. And social media, it instantly lit up. Some called it unnecessary. Others called it competitive edge. Either way, it added another layer to an already heated night. But Indiana didn't collapse. Mitchell calmly knocked down free throws. Cunningham chipped in. The Fever closed the door. Final score 90-82. Clark finished with 22 points, 9 assists, 4 rebounds, 2 blocks, and 4. Post-game, Clark addressed the injury situation directly. She said she had every intention of playing against Portland and didn't know she would be ruled out until shortly before tip-off. Whether fans believe it was precautionary or something more strategic, one thing became obvious: she came back with something to prove. But this wasn't a solo act. Aliyah Boston was the backbone of the comeback. 20 points, 16 rebounds. When Indiana needed stability, she provided it. After dealing with her own lower leg concerns earlier this month, her presence changes everything for this team. When she's locked in, Indiana looks different. Mitchell added 19 points and went a perfect 11 for 11 from the free throw line. That's composure, that's closing ability. Cunningham added 11 off the bench and played a crucial role as a secondary creator. Golden State didn't fold either. Hayes finished with 19. Chen had 18. Burton added 17. Now the Fever sit at 4-2. 3 straight wins, momentum building, and maybe more importantly, identity forming. When Clark is healthy and aggressive, when Boston controls the interior, when Mitchell closes, this looks like the team people expected at the start of the season. But here's the bigger question. If Clark plays with this much fire in May, what happens when the stakes get even higher? The technical, the flagrant, the deep threes from another stratosphere, the trash talk, the intensity. That's not someone coasting through a long season. That's someone competing every possession like it's personal. And whether you love it or hate it, one thing is becoming impossible to deny. Caitlin Clark doesn't just play the game, she sets it on fire. And if this is what a back-issue comeback looks like, the rest of the league might want to buckle up.